Hey, it's Aaron, the host for Mobile Reviews A.ca, and today I'm going to give you my 2 cents between the camera battle between the Galaxy S7 and the iPhone 6s. Now, this is a very new device. This is a slightly newer device. So some of you are thinking that this comparison may not be relevant, but still, it's kind of fun to compare to see which one's better. I've taken my time with this comparison. I've spent a lot of time taking photos with both these devices, as well as posting them up on Instagram and Facebook where I let you guys vote on them. So I'm very grateful for that input. So let's get started. When it comes to the camera, the S7 outperforms the 6S in low light or shadows, but the 6S, in my opinion, has better color. And from a video perspective, despite being an Apple fan, I do have to say that the video camera on the S7 for the general user has a slight edge over the 6S, which wasn't the case with the S6. So I'm going to touch on a few differences that I felt were important and that I felt that other people haven't touched on. And then I'm going to tell you at the end of this video why it kind of doesn't matter. And it's a good one. It's a good one. Right off the bat, the S7 has a bigger field of view, which means you get to capture more. This is a big thing for both video and photographs. You'll notice a big difference between the two cameras when you put them side by side. But if all you're doing is staring at one camera, well, you're not going to notice the deficit or the increase in terms of the field of view. When it comes to low light photos, across every single one that I took, over 70% of you chose the photos taken by the Galaxy S7. And that's a no-brainer. If you look at this photo comparison of Monty sitting on his bed in my co-working office, the top photo was taken with an S7 and you could definitely see more of Monty, whereas the photo taken by the 6S is a lot darker. For this very specific photo, 78% of you chose the photo from the S7. Now I do have to agree, but my problem is with the S7 photo is that Monty is a gray dog. He is not a brown dog. Right, buddy? You're a gray dog. Black and white, gray. For really low light conditions, the S7 wins hands down. For this photo taken in one of the meeting rooms, you can't even see the horse, the giant horse mural in that meeting room on the iPhone 6s photo. 100% of you chose the photo from the S7, which is something I cannot disagree with. Now, as I just said a minute earlier, the colors on the iPhone are better in my perspective. The Monty bed photo was a good example, but here is another photo of a semi-low light photo. The S7's representation of the brick is a little too warm for my liking. The iPhone 6s represents the brick with a deeper orange-red color, which I like. And what did you guys think? You guys chose the better color balanced photo at 68%. The overexposure also improves the details that the S7 captures in photos where shadows are involved. In this panoramic shot of Calgary, the buildings are a little more detailed than the S7 because, well, you can actually see what's in those shadows. 80% of you guys preferred the S7 photo, but turning 90 degrees in the exact same spot and taking a photo of another part of Calgary, 75% of you chose the photo taken by the iPhone. So really, what does that mean? Well, the Galaxy S7 does great for, indoor shots as well as shots involving shadows. But for large, bright, sweeping panoramics, I think the iPhone 6s is still better. However, that's the exact opposite when it comes to taking selfies because, well, the iPhone 6s has that half-assed flash that actually does a lot better than having no flash at all when you compare these two photos of me this morning. When it comes to video, the bigger field of view of the S7 does make it a better video camera in general. And the focus on the S7 is so much quicker than the one on the S6, and it does beat the 6S by a lot as well, which is pretty important if you're filming things that are moving pretty quickly. I am very glad that Samsung decided to improve the autofocus on the S7 because that autofocus on the S6 was an absolute stinker. Now, the only areas that the iPhone 6s comes out on top are slow-mo video and video stabilization. Now, when it comes to slow-mo video, especially with how I shoot, like the iPhone drops, is that I really want to focus on the thing that is falling, the iPhone. And so in this footage, you can definitely see more with the S7 slow motion footage. In the iPhone 6s footage, you can actually see the iPhone hit the concrete better. Now, I know I can move the S7 closer to the action, but that increases the chance that I'm going to hit the S7 with the actual iPhone that I'm dropping. So I'm not willing to take that chance. Same with the slow-mo footage of Monty running. I want to see Monty running in slow motion. I don't want to see the grass that isn't moving in slow motion. And this is kind of where the benefit of having a larger field of view doesn't actually help in this type of video. Now, I will add, comparing against the S6, where the slow-mo footage from that device literally spewed out overexposed, blurry photos. I am so glad that Samsung decided to bump up the slow-mo quality on the S7. It is quite nice, especially when compared to that crappy S6. For video stabilization, I have to say that the iPhone 6s comes out on top. The S7 stabilization is better than the S6s and is almost comparable to the 6s's. A couple of hours of driving footage with Monty showed me that the 6s's stabilization was just a tad better. However, when compared to the 6s Plus, which has optical video stabilization, well, you can definitely tell that the 6s Plus wins hands down. The footage produced by the 6s Plus is glide cam-like, whereas the footage captured by the S7, you can kind of still see where I'm stepping or what my pace is when I'm walking in these videos. Now, there were comments in my previous comparison videos saying that I was an idiot who didn't turn on the video stabilization on a Samsung device, so here is a shot of me turning it on. It has been on this entire time, the moment that I got this device. So that's basically the comparison portion. Again, I'm very grateful that you guys voted on those photos that I posted on Instagram and Facebook. But I did say at the beginning of the video, it kind of doesn't matter, because unless you're like me, who has both devices, and honestly, what normal person would? Like, I'm wearing 2 smartwatches. Like, honestly, what normal person would? Yes, the Galaxy S7 works better indoors, low light conditions, things with shadows, but the iPhone does a lot better with things that are bright, right? Large semi-panoramic shots. The video stabilization is a little better. Video in general for the S7 is better. And you're noticing in this video that I'm swapping between 2 focal points. And that's because I filmed this entire comparison video on 2 devices, and I've been changing where I look. And some of you may have noticed that the field of view is a little different in some footage compared to others, but most of you didn't. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make, that regardless of what device you go with, you're not really going to notice unless you're staring at 2 devices side by side. Like, I've got the 6S here, I've got the S7. I'll notice the difference, but if you have one, probably not. So that's all I got for this review. If you found it useful, give it a thumbs up, or if this is the first time you're watching my videos, give me a subscribe, because I produce content 2 to 3 times a week. It's tiring how much content I produce. Find me on Google Plus, Twitter, as well as Facebook. Again, hands up to all the people who voted on Instagram and whatnot for the photos. I'm very grateful, and so that's kind of all I got. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.